Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Jonathan Mizar. You can call me John. I have a crazy, no skit today, no skit, but I do have a crazy proposition. Maybe we can get through this whole video in one take. Could something that crazy happen? I doubt it, but we're going to be ambitious. Today's topic, I have been thrifting pretty regularly for the last 4 or 5 years, and I've walked away with 4 cameras so far, which is honestly, in my opinion, not a bad score. And I just want to talk about all the cameras I've been managed to find at thrift stores. And for those of you who don't know, I imagine it's pretty obvious, but thrifting is something where people typically donate and people can buy it, and it typically goes to a good cause. Goodwill, Ark, Salvation Army, these are typically places you would think of. It is very rare for you to find camera gear here for the very obvious reason that when you donate things, you don't get anything for them. So if you are someone who wants to get rid of a camera, you most likely paid a lot of money for it, and the return value on them is usually pretty good. So you're very likely to just sell it on eBay, hold on to it, pass it along. It's very rare that it shows up. Usually it's in a bin of someone's belongings, and unfortunately they pass away or something. But thrifted cameras are a rare sight. And to be honest with you, sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not. So this is what I've walked away from. Before I get into that complicated topic, thrifting, the best way to handle a complicated topic is to be brief and not nuanced. But some people have beef with people thrifting. They want to gatekeep it for various reasons. One, if you buy the thrifted stuff, there's not as much thrifted stuff for them to buy. So people want to keep you away. And they'll gatekeep it with all sorts of things. They'll say, if you make this much money, if you do this or that, you can't thrift clothes. I say hogwash. If you live by a thrift store, you are allowed to go. At the very least, the money goes to a good cause. What I will say is if you're not a photographer and you see a camera and you want to buy it for cheap, because that's how thrift stores work, I do think it's a little scummy to resell it for profit. I have mixed feelings on it. I'm not going to get too into it, but I do think that gets a little more divisive. But if you're a photographer, I do think you should give thrifting a shot. There's a very rare chance you'll find a camera. And on top of that, it's not even close to the same, but it is very similar in the fact that, taking photos is looking for moments and looking for angles. Thrifting is going through a lot of junk and just looking for things that you find value in that maybe no one else does, in the same way that photography is seeing the world in a way that no one else does. So if you like photography, give thrifting a shot. But we can get into my very first favorite camera. This is a Canon Sureshot OWL. There's a bunch of models of these, but this one I got from the 90s. Or not from the 90s. It was built in the 90s. I got it in 2023, I want to say. I will mix in some B-roll here, but I have a Goodwill tag on here. I'll never take it off. $4. Pretty good score, in my opinion. These on eBay, I've seen these go for anywhere for $100 to $200, depending on the shape they're in. I would stick closer to $100 for fair value. This is by far my favorite camera I have thrifted, as far as this is kind of towards the end of the film era. And a lot of things, a lot of convenience of life in here is just baked into this camera. If you can see, I'm not going to open it up because I actually have live film in here right now, but there's no advancer. So you shoot a photo, the film automatically advances. When you have this in the back and you put the film in and you just load it over, you really don't have to, you can't mess it up. If you mess it up, you're kind of stupid, for lack of better words. You just have to vaguely get it over there and it feeds it for you. I've never used it, but there is something that can stamp the date on there. Some people really like that. I think it caps on this model at 2030. I know depending on the Sureshot model, sometimes they cap at 2019, but I believe I actually have a 2030 model. So if I ever want to use that, I can. But this camera is super easy. You can just fit it in a pocket really easily. Built-in protection for the lens. This just flips off, auto, no flash, self-timer for them selfies. They were even doing them back then. Has autofocus. You don't have to set autofocus points. It just, you point, you pull the button, it takes a second, it shoots a photo. That's what these three little weird dots are. And I don't know if you can see, the viewfinder on this is actually very nice. It's 35 millimeters, which is very practical for a ton of things. But even for a compact camera, it's a very nice viewfinder. This is my favorite find. Thank you, Goodwill. I will cherish this for the rest of time. Moving on to the next one, I do need to make a slight distinction. This is my second favorite camera. So there is thrifting, which is things that people donate, typically sold for a much cheaper cost. There is something called antiquing. If you don't know what you're looking for, it might be hard to distinguish what kind of store you've walked into. But typically with antiquing, people have booths or there's tags on there as far as it's just numbered and when you go to checkout, they know who brought that item. These tend to be more pre-curated places in the fact that, it's someone who probably thrifted a bunch themselves, and of all the good thrift finds they found, they're bringing them to this antique store and they make a little bit extra money, or it's their husband and wives making them clear junk out of the garage. You never know, but these you can typically tell are bought from, a person and not necessarily donated. But one I managed to snag was this Canon Powershot SX720 HS. This is back when Canon was trying to do the same naming conventions as Sony, where they just have alphabet numeric soup, for lack of better words. I believe this is from like the early 2010-15 era. I got this for $50 with a battery, a charger, SD card, and funny enough, apologies. I know, picking stuff off the floor. Leather case, which I actually thought was very nice. But all for $50. I've seen these go for anywhere from $400 to $600, depending on their shape they're in. I'd, again, stick closer to the $400 price point, but this is a really nice camera. A lot of modern features. I'll start with the bad, because there's really not that much. I wish that this had a RAW camera feature. It can only shoot in JPEG. And even for the time, like reading reviews that were contemporary, they were like, come on, Canon, where's the RAW in this? But JPEG is honestly fine for a lot of like social events, stuff like that. Maybe I can put some of my photos up I've taken with this. Really fun to take to concerts and parties. Just a place that you really want a modern camera with modern features. 20 megapixels on here. It's just nice, built-in lens. 40 times optical zoom. I did the math once. Oh, it's on here. That's crazy. No, I lied. It's not on here. It's like 28 millimeters to like 350 millimeters. I'm guessing. I'm going to look it up after I record this and actually confirm the facts. Or I'll never do it. Maybe I'll be too lazy. Who knows? Built-in flash here. Super nice. Again, really helps if you're taking it out. But my only other big beef, I know I said I do all the beefs at the beginning. I wish that the manual was a little easier to use. I feel that this camera is really only useful in auto because the dials kind of suck. And so if you want to like change the aperture, the shutter really quick, or that it's just a pain in the butt. It's not worth it. Let the camera guess, and it's probably going to do it faster than you can. This is a great photo if you're zooming in for like buildings and stuff. This is not going to get those wildlife photos. The autofocus really tends to struggle at those further focal lengths, but it's usable. This is a lot further than any phone, even like the Galaxy like space zoom. This is further than they get, and honestly better quality in my opinion. And we'll end on a bad because, I don't know. I'm kidding. We'll find one more good thing to say. A lot of people raved about how this is like an incredible vlog camera, good for video. It's a little dated in my opinion, like 2012-ish to now. Like my iPhone 12, that's a few years old, and it kind of handedly beats the crap out of this, for lack of better words. But the build quality is really solid for $50. Oh, immediate video button for recording. That's good. I'll give that to it. It's just a great camera. This is one of the best values I got. I'm going to stand up. Trust me. It's worth it. The reason that this is such a good deal this is not thrifted. We bought this on eBay. This is a Sony Cybershot. We paid like almost $200 for this. 4 times the price of this. This is a significantly better camera than what we paid just on eBay, and obviously it was a lot easier to find. But if you're willing to look, you can really get some good deals and some good finds. Now we're going to go to some cameras that are a little rougher around the edges. This is one that I'm actually very excited to shoot on. This is a Minolta AutoPak 450E. It kind of looks like a TV remote, like can change the channel or something like that. Great camera. I haven't shot a single photo, and I gotta be honest with you there. And for the one primary reason of film is incredible, but I think we take for granted that 35 millimeter really paved the way and still sticks around. There are some other film types that are not as popular. This shoots on something called 110. If you buy one of these, great. I got this one for $10. Even on eBay, these only go for like $20. So not crazy savings there. But good luck buying 110. It's either, you have 2 choices. It's either expired or there's one manufacturer, I think it's like Lomography. I'm probably butchering that, but they still make it. And honestly, bless their heart. Not in like the mean Southern way, like the actually bless their heart way. In the fact that I know it's a dying field, but I really appreciate them caring and still trying to keep it alive. Great. Buy a film from them, shoot on it. Once you do that, good luck finding someone who can develop it and scan it. It's just a very niche thing as far as, like, I don't know if you can see. It's probably too far. I'm going to put some B-roll in here so you can actually see it. But it's like a really small cartridge. So it is nice that it's compact. But even once you get those scans, it's not physically a lot of film. So even in the digital scanner, there's not a lot of data there to be scanned. I don't know. I'm really excited. I'm going to do a full video where I shoot with this. But I just haven't gotten around to it for the simple fact of it's a pain in the butt. And that, you know, film's already a pain in the butt. So to add 10 extra hurdles just kind of makes it hard. Real quick, I know we're shooting. I'm not even going to cut this. I see the lighting's changed a lot. Has it really messed with it, or do we still look good?
It's just different.
It's just different, guys. Speaking of different, here's a new camera. This is, I'm going to butcher this, the Yamasheta 35mm. Apologies. I moved on way too quick. This one I also got in an antique store, and I bought it from the same guy who sold me this. And clearly he really likes leather, because it actually had a leather carrying case for this one as well. Really appreciate it. Thank you very much, sir. Real quick, before I move on, I apologize, guys. I'm a mess. One take. We're going for it. We're crazy. The reason that both of these cameras are really lucky finds is that these are AA battery powered. So even if you do find one, it's really common that some grandma never took the batteries out and it's completely destroyed, and the fact that the battery corrosion has just ate it apart. I was really lucky. I don't know the last time the guy used it, but I know when I bought it, there was a battery in here and there was a little bit of corrosion, but on the actual pins and stuff, not too bad. I think we're going to be usable there. Oh, look at me. I'm a fool. I can't shut it. All right. Last and definitely least camera. I did thrift this one. I got this one from an ARC, which is popular here in Colorado. This is the worst camera I think I've ever bought, and this is probably going to be one of my next videos. Let me highlight the good, because there is some good here, and this is something I've always really appreciated about film, is that the film does a lot of the work. So you can get some very unique designs that are engineered around the fact that a lot of the heavy lifting is already done by the film. So the best part, this camera is mostly made of plastic. I bought it for $3. I bet even at the time it wasn't a whole lot more than that. You know, obviously counting for inflation. This was not an expensive camera to begin with. It is made of completely plastic, which I have heard in reviews reading about it. It light leaks a lot because the plastic cracks. I'll include it in the B-roll. There's like it's like really starting to pull up here. We'll see if the photos turn up. But every single part of this is plastic. For better or worse, like this is some cheap junk. But you know what? It doesn't even require batteries, which is, I'm going to break this on camera. I can't even get it open. I'm not, oh, let's go for it. Let's just go for it. We're already in. All plastic for the actual like mechanics of feeding the film. I see a little bit of metal there for the pin. I'm really convinced that when I go to load a film in here, I'm going to just waste $10 trying to load anything in here. But I'm optimistic. This camera is also mostly broken. So, two thoughts. When I saw this this is not a long lens. I thought the 35mm here applied to the actual focal length. Like, oh, wider lens. And then I looked through here and I'm like, that's way too tight with the rangefinder viewfinder. I'm like, that's not 35mm. That's way too tight. I believe there was a lens on here that broke off, which is probably what led someone to donate this. I'll see if I can put a picture online. There is like a 50mm lens that was plastic and it snapped off. And that lens is what allowed you to change the light settings, essentially, like told the camera how long to leave the shutter open and stuff. I do not know what I'm locked into here, whether it's like cloudy, nighttime, sunny day. I'm just going to put some film in here and load it and shoot it, and we're going to see what we get just for the kicks and giggles. But yeah, it's not a very nice camera. Look, I've never gotten rid of a camera in my whole life. Once I shoot some photos on this and see how they turn out, maybe they'll be the best photos of my career, I don't know. I'm getting rid of this camera. I don't have the space. I'm not holding on to this one. But for $3, my curiosity got the better of me. So if you're looking forward to seeing that, maybe check that out. These are my 4 thrifted. I don't know if you're going to count antiquing. I'm not going to distinct too hard, but I consider these all my 4 thrifted cameras. I'd love to hear what cameras you've thrifted. I'd love to hear your opinion on thrifting. I was going to say economics, but thrifting morals. I feel good about buying them there. I think it's a weird thing to get caught up on. Again, I get it. If you're like not a photographer, you buy the cameras and you're like, I'm going to sell this for $100. I mean, I get it, you know, do with what you have. We're not going to get caught up in it. But I love cameras. These are some of the best I have found thrifting. Good luck finding some. They're really hard to come by. I don't know. Cameras. I love them. If you like this video, I'm going to make more. I take photos with these cameras and other ones. I have better ones, I promise. They're on my website. You can check those out. On my website is also a newsletter where I talk about my creative process, things I'm working on, things I'm doing. Check it out. I don't spam you. It's once a month. Check out my other videos. You like this one? Like, subscribe. I appreciate you. One take. We did it. Did we do it? Good. We did it. Great. We're getting thumbs up here, guys. We killed it. Great. Bye.